Imagine walking into a store, just going about your day, and suddenly being treated like you don't belong. That's exactly what happened to a young black girl shopping for a gift with her dad. Out of nowhere, a woman confronted her, demanding she leave, as if she owned the place. The girl stood there, stunned, trying to process the situation. Little did the woman know, the person she was trying to humiliate wasn't alone, and her dad wasn't just anyone. He was the CEO of the very store she was in. What happened next left everyone, especially the woman, absolutely speechless. It's a story of unexpected power, justice, and a father stepping in to show the world what real leadership looks like. Stay tuned to see how one moment turned into a lesson that no one in that store will ever forget. The young girl stood there, clutching a small item in her hand, her excitement over the gift she had picked out fading quickly. The woman's voice grew louder, accusing her of things that made no sense. Other shoppers stopped and stared, unsure of what was happening, but sensing the tension. The girl's dad, who had stepped away to take a phone call, returned just in time to hear the woman's sharp words. His eyes darted between his daughter's confused expression and the woman's angry face. The woman turned to him, assuming he was just another customer, and began to explain why the girl shouldn't be there. Her tone was dismissive, almost as if she thought she'd find an ally in him. But instead of responding, he calmly took out his phone and made a quick call. The woman paused, confused by his reaction, unaware that everything was about to change. As the dad stood there, calm but clearly focused, the woman's frustration only grew. "I've been shopping here for years, and I know when someone doesn't belong," she snapped, gesturing at the girl. The dad's silence made her uneasy, but she pushed on, doubling down. Meanwhile, the other shoppers exchanged awkward glances, unsure whether to step in or stay out of it. The young girl, still holding the gift, shifted uncomfortably, her excitement replaced with embarrassment. What the woman didn't realize was that the dad wasn't just making any phone call. He was speaking directly to the store manager. In less than a minute, a tall man in a crisp uniform appeared, walking briskly toward them. The dad greeted him by name, shaking his hand with the ease of someone who wasn't just a regular customer. The woman's eyes flickered with confusion as she began to realize something wasn't adding up. The woman's confidence began to waver as the manager approached, greeting the dad with clear respect. "Sir, how can I assist you?" The manager asked, glancing briefly at the woman, but keeping his focus on the dad. The dad's voice remained calm, but there was an unmistakable authority behind it. He gestured toward his daughter and said, "It seems there's been some confusion here. This woman believes my daughter shouldn't be in this store." The woman crossed her arms defensively. "I'm just saying what everyone's thinking," she muttered, her tone growing more uncertain. The manager's expression darkened slightly, and he stepped closer to the dad, as if sensing there was more to the story. Shoppers nearby pretended to browse but couldn't hide their curiosity. The dad finally turned his full attention to the woman. "Do you have any idea who I am?" he asked, his voice steady but commanding. The woman blinked, her bravado fading as the room seemed to fall silent, all eyes locked on them. The tension in the air was almost unbearable, and everyone waited to see what would happen next. The woman hesitated, trying to maintain her composure, but the dad's calm, unwavering tone left her visibly unsettled. "I don't care who you are," she blurted out, though her voice now lacked the confidence it held moments ago. The dad exchanged a glance with the manager, who nodded slightly, as if understanding the unspoken message. "Let me make it clear for you," the dad said, stepping closer but keeping his tone measured. "I'm the CEO of this company. This store, every policy, every employee, everything here runs through me." Gasps rippled through the crowd, and the woman's face drained of color. She stumbled over her words, trying to find something to say, but before she could respond, the dad continued, "And you've just created a scene in front of my daughter, my customers, and my staff." Just then, another employee approached, holding what looked like security footage. "Sir, we have the recording," they said, handing it to the manager. The dad looked at the woman, his expression now colder. Let's make sure the facts are clear for everyone, he said, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife. The woman froze, realizing her actions were about to be laid bare for everyone to see. The manager plugged the security footage into a nearby screen, and the scene played out for everyone to see. It showed the woman walking toward the young girl, her tone sharp as she demanded the girl leave the store. The woman's words echoed in the silent room, and her hostility was undeniable. The dad crossed his arms, watching her reaction as her face turned red with embarrassment. "I think that speaks for itself," the dad said, his voice firm. "This store was meant to be a space for everyone, regardless of who they are. Your behavior goes against everything this company stands for." The woman stammered, trying to justify her actions, but the dad raised a hand to stop her. "I believe it's time for you to leave," he said, nodding to the manager. Security arrived moments later, escorting the woman out as she muttered under her breath. But just as the tension began to ease, the dad turned to the crowd. "This isn't just about one moment," he said, addressing everyone. "It's a reminder that we all have a responsibility to treat each other with dignity and respect. My daughter deserves that, and so does every person in this room." The shoppers began to applaud, and the young girl smiled for the first time since the ordeal began. As they left the store, the dad leaned down and said to his daughter, "Never let anyone make you feel small. You belong everywhere." What started as an awful encounter turned into a powerful lesson no one would forget. As the dad and his daughter walked out of the store, the atmosphere felt lighter, the tension replaced by a sense of quiet triumph. The little girl held her father's hand tightly, the gift still clutched in her other hand. She looked up at him with a shy smile. "Thank you, Dad," she said softly. He smiled back, his expression full of pride. "You never have to thank me for standing up for you. That's what I'm here for." Meanwhile, the shoppers inside the store were still buzzing about what had just happened. Some reflected on how quickly things had escalated, while others were inspired by how the dad handled the situation with dignity and strength. It wasn't just about putting the woman in her place. It was about teaching everyone a lesson in respect and inclusion. By the time they got to the car, the dad looked at his daughter and said, "Remember this moment. You're stronger than you know, and no one can take that from you." She nodded, her confidence slowly returning. The world may not always be fair, but with a dad like hers, she knew she'd never face it alone.